All right. Hey there, everybody. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Empire Interviews. This is going to be a great one. I'm going to be talking to Michael today. We're going to be talking about Metamask, Consensys, Wallet Guard, and the future of Web3, and why he's excited about the space. Get to know a little bit behind the person. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right. Hey there, Michael.
What is going on? How are you?
Good, man. I'm excited to be talking to you today. So on this channel, we've talked to a whole bunch of different projects, but I'm trying to get more on the EVM side. And so you're over there. I'm excited that I got to speak to you today. For everybody out there that doesn't know you, I know that I've seen you. I believe it was on Killer Whales, right?
Yeah. I was on season 1, episode 4 of Killer Whales. Yep.
Yeah, that was sick. And I mean, like, I love all of those characters that were up there. They definitely have their very strong personalities. We'll say that.
Yeah, let's keep it like that.
Yeah. So first of all, for everybody that might not be familiar with you, give us a little like intro about yourself, when you came into this space and what all you're involved in, right?
Yeah, so currently I'm the senior BD manager at Consensys, as well as on the product safety team at Metamask. And about 8 months ago, our startup Wallet Guard was acquired by Consensys and Metamask. So we were able to bring that technology, that security, into one of the biggest wallets. So instead of just protecting over 100,000 users, we now protect over 35 million monthly active users of Metamask, which is game changing when it comes to reducing fund loss incidents. I myself, I've been in cybersecurity my whole life. I've always worked on, residential and business, managed service provider, computer services, buying, selling, fixing, and, being introduced to the guys at Wallet Guard on a Twitter space about 3.5 years ago was a great transition from going from Web2 cybersecurity to Web3 cybersecurity. So it's been quite a journey. And it really feels like a movie at this point because everything's moving so quickly, and we were able to scale from 0 to acquisition within 1.5 years. So it's been a dream.
Dude, that's super massive. And I love that for you. And I love that that's the experience, because one of the things that I see all of the time in this space is that there's always kind of like a fork in the road, right? You have your whole life doing whatever you're doing, and then you get into Web3 and it just takes like a hard right turn, and then everything's kind of different. But also getting into Web3 is really tough for people outside of it because there's no direct entrance, right? So it's like things have to line up just right for you to go from outside to inside. And I'm glad that happened for you. For everybody out there, tell me, when was the first time you heard about Bitcoin? And then also, like, what was your life before crypto? I mean, you've already said cybersecurity and stuff, but like, was there a certain direction that you were going in addition to that?
I mean, first time I heard about Bitcoin was in 2010. I was in my grandma's basement, and I had dropped out of college in 2009, and I started my first. Actually, I had my first IT business at 16, my first LLC, and then I had my first office at 20, and I merged it with a much larger IT company and got acquired at 23, where I was a CEO for that for 8 years. But I heard about Bitcoin first in 2010. I remember seeing this, this live price about it. And, some of my friends were like, yo, how do we get it? And none of us knew how to get it. And I think it was at the time where you would like send cash in the mail to some random address in Russia or China, and they would send you back the keys or access to Bitcoin. But, it was up in the air, before Coinbase came in and really adopted a lot of retail, and Binance adopted a lot of retail. It was really tough to penetrate any crypto market. So 2017, 2016 to 2018, I started to, buy some coins on Coinbase, and, started to like dabble a little bit, but didn't really understand what the point of it really was yet. And, being in cybersecurity and IT my whole life, it was like, why can't I wrap my head around what this is? But I wasn't afraid of it, right? So I went down the rabbit hole, and in early 2020, through Decentraland, I actually met somebody named Zeta and Peanut Butter. And it was in Decentraland that I logged in as a guest. You didn't have to have a wallet. And when I logged in as a guest, they ran across my screen and they're like, come check out my land. And I'm like, what do you mean your land? And we teleported to his parcels, and he showed me his NFTs, and he's like a famous photographer. And he's like, yeah, these are my one of ones. Kind of started all like making sense, right? Like, you own these virtual assets. This is your land. You can mint your work on the blockchain, and I can prove that I got it from you. Because prior to then, I hated NFTs because I couldn't understand what they were. So that began my journey into NFTs. I bought a bunch of land in Decentraland, started hosting events for different projects and communities. I wasn't really looking at any of the NFTs that I was buying as like a quick flip. I was looking at it as like, hey, I can monetize this. I can create a business or a brand out of this. I could use this as IP. So at the end of the day, I'm not stuck with a bunch of junk that I don't like and I can't sell. One of the biggest events that I did in Decentraland was for DAZN and pay-per-view. It was the Canelo and the Triple G fight. We built a whole virtual stadium for them and live streamed the fight into Decentraland. And that was like one of the biggest events that we've hosted. And around that time, I also ran into the guys at WalletGuard on a Twitter space. Shout out to the co-founders, Ohm and Martin, and also Jacob and John, for really focusing on something that I think a lot of people didn't know exists in crypto, which is security. And they offered me a brand ambassador position, and it was unpaid, but I was happy to do it because I had just exited my IT company, and I was just like, where do I put my energy and my resources? After 6 months of doing that, they let me know that they want to give me a full-time position. And we all actually that same month ended up moving to a hacker house in Austin, Texas. We all lived together for a year and a half and hyperscaled WalletGuard to the point of acquisition. And in between all that was on the Killer Whales TV show, was doing multiple speaking engagements. There was tons of stuff, just tons of stuff happening. And it was a ride, but it was a really good ride. And I can't believe that I did it with, just 4 other guys that like had the same vision, the same mindset. Like, when you find the right group of people and you actually want to execute on something, you can make anything happen.
That's amazing. And I really love that whole story, as well as just, that journey is great, right? The way that you fell into Web3 and the way that it's going for you, I think is amazing. I have like a couple of questions. One of them is kind of silly, but one of them is maybe not as silly. Have you heard of Rare Evo, and will you be attending this year?
I have heard of Rare Evo.
Is because a lot of cross-chain projects will be there this year. And also, if you buy a ticket there and you use the code Crypto Nightly, you get a discount.
Oh, okay. All right. There's a little shill there.
Yeah. We'll definitely be there this year. It was a blast last year, but it's gotten like 4x bigger this year, I think.
Yeah, my goal is to hit up as many conferences as I can. Last year, just in a row, I did like Bitcoin Nashville, VCon, Korea Blockchain Week, Token 2049, Permissionless, Art Basel, Ape Fest. I try to hit up everything. So I'll definitely be keeping that on my roadmap. I'm trying to see what the situation is with Token 2049 in Dubai, as well as Bitcoin Vegas. So trying to gear up for that as well.
Absolutely. I always think about, like, I think the first real big conference I went to, I think, was 2021, Bitcoin Miami, 2021. And it was like an amazing experience. It was fantastic, but it was very weird, I will say, in the sense that it was so Bitcoin maxi. I went to like several of the after parties, and then like one of the after parties, there was one guy in like sandals with glasses and wearing like jorts, and he had an Ethereum shirt. And every single other person was like, look at that guy in the Ethereum shirt. And he just didn't care. I was like, that guy with the Ethereum shirt, he's hung, right? He's out here with all these Bitcoin maxis and having a blast. And it was interesting. But then as the years have changed, it's definitely become a lot more inviting, right?
Yeah. I think like in the beginning, There's been waves, right? It's like, oh, we're all gonna make it, and then you just have the process of everyone shilling their stuff, and then now the real builders come in. So it's like an evolutionary process. I think like we're still in the Pong phase of blockchain and crypto, and all of this is still in fruition. I mean, it's going to take decades for adoption, but I think the more developers, the more builders, the more competing products that are in the space, the better for the space to grow faster. One of the things that we were always asked when we were at WalletGuard was, what do you think about your competition? What do you think about, Pocket Universe or Revoke Cash or all these other things? And we always said, it's better that they're here because we can all work together. We can all contribute to the same phishing detection. We can all contribute to the same cause, which is keeping people safe. It's not a matter of competition. It's a matter of us building real products, real utility that everybody could tap into, because it's free, it's open source, it's transparent, it's something that you can enable within seconds. And now you don't have to enable it because it's part of your wallet. So
Yeah,
that's the ultimate win.
100%. So that's kind of interesting. Here's one thing I want to ask you about. Are you familiar with Midnight Network?
Yeah.
Okay. Like, I personally kind of fell into Cardano because of Midnight Network. And the reason is that my background is medical devices and like medical data. I can't say I'm on the technical side, but I was in that field. And so one of the tools or things I wanted built out was the machine that the company built was for treatment of cancer. And it was pretty innovative. And so what I wanted was a way for each machine to capture the data without interfering with the privacy of the patient, right? So that way you have that data and then you could use that to improve treatments over time. So the shielded and unshielded transactions of Midnight was kind of the thing that I was like, oh man, this makes sense. This fixes it. First, I was all into homomorphic encryption, which is like super complicated, very heavy. And then I found out about Midnight. I thought it was cool. When it comes to like data privacy and security, which is what you guys are pretty much doing, is there a future where shielded and unshielded transactions are something that are going to be like in the stack?
I mean, when you're talking about privacy and data security, I think that's one of the biggest things that MetaMask focuses on, which is why we move a little slower than other wallets, is because every layer of our stack, we focus on maintaining the privacy of the user. So for example, you have the ability to opt out of data and metrics submission. Some wallets don't let you do that, or it's on by default. You have the ability to turn off smart transactions and deal with those transactions directly interfacing with the blockchain, as opposed to having a layer of confirmation or an added layer of security via MetaMask or WalletGuard or whatever the case is. So being able to give the user these granular options so that it can understand the privacy that is associated with each action that they're performing in their wallet, I think is essential. And this is why every time that we are introducing something new into MetaMask, we're taking a lot of time to develop and make sure that it's privacy preserving as well as security focused for the user. For example, we're in the process of rolling out Profile Sync, and Profile Sync makes sure that if you install MetaMask on multiple devices, all of your settings, your wallet configurations, the names of your wallets that you set, the dark mode setting, the tokens you added, the NFTs you've added, all automatically sync in a manner that is privacy preserving. So it's actually not sitting on a data center server and your settings are there. It's actually done through contracts and on-chain information. So it's like, how do we get to the point of making sure that every part of what the wallet is doing is actually maintaining the privacy of the user, as opposed to just enabling all these third-party APIs and not necessarily caring about what's happening in the background. So again, we might move slower than other wallets, but it's an advantage of the user maintaining privacy as well as security.
Yeah, I love that. I actually recently, I'm not going to talk about specifically call out the wallet, but I had a wallet nightmare where like one of the wallets that I was using got acquired by another wallet. So then I had to update to this other wallet. I update, and then all of the names of all of my wallets are all messed up, right? So instead of specific objective based names that I had with each wallet, it's just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I was just there like, oh my gosh, have to go every single one, find out what's there. So that wallet sync is really awesome for the
well,
user.
you know, we have to look at it from a point of like, how do we make it as easy for the user as possible? How do we abstract away all these layers of friction and the ability or the need to even change RPC networks or add security extensions or worry about seed phrases and private keys? How can we abstract all of these away at the wallet level? It is, in my opinion, the duty of the wallet to make sure that the onboarding experience, as well as the experience as you're navigating Web3, is all handled for the user. So we actually just released another update recently where you no longer have to switch networks. You can have 6 tabs open, and as you move from tab to tab, if each one is a different network, MetaMask will automatically switch to that network for you with 0 friction. And then we're also working on, account abstraction and EIP 4337, which is going to make it so that users don't have to be onboarded by having to remember or keep a seed phrase or private key safe. And I think that if we're chipping away at all these different things that we're learning over the years, because MetaMask is at this point a 9-year-old wallet, we're going to get to the point where a wallet is an operating system of the future. And it gives you a guardrailed environment for you to discover everything in Web3, or I should say Web Next, because it is the future of the internet and how we're going to manage everything.
Yeah, I love that. I think that the first thing that comes to mind when I think about that bigger picture is like, when is Consensys acquiring Brave? And when is it all going to be one thing,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super awesome. I love that. So in this space, what are some of the projects that you're personally the most excited about, kind of like outside of the MetaMask Consensys wallet guard field? What are some of the projects that you like?
Yeah.
Or that you look at them and you're like, man, they're really building some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a few projects out there that I think provide a good for the space, which I'm always bullish on. For example, big shout out to Roscoe from Revoke Cash and what he's done over the years when it comes to like notifying users of different threats that are tied directly to on-chain approvals, making sure they understand the difference between disconnecting your wallet from a website and actually revoking something that is giving permission to your assets on chain. So Revoke Cash, I think, is awesome. A lot of people focus on these projects that are just there to basically be a degenerate gambling casino. And I don't think that that's the point of the space. I think a lot of people get onboarded under the pretense of making 100x, and then they get completely wrecked and think that crypto is a scam. But I think that if we start onboarding people in a way where what is the point of this technology and what is decentralization, and we talk to them about things that they're already familiar with on a daily basis and how it could be completely different, then we could get to the point of these real tools and providing real utility for making life easier and making it easier for people to transact with each other without 10 middlemen being in between each transaction. So I know I went a little off on that, but I think that there's a lot of great projects that are building. It's hard for me to state any specifically when it comes to like a NFT project or a network, because I have to maintain a mutual standing. So I'm really focusing on like the actual tools or security based, dApps that are being released in order to maintain and keep people secure. Plus my mind's been in Consensys and MetaMask for the past like 8 months, like head down.
No, you're totally good. And I mean, like, so many big things have happened over there with MetaMask as well. Like the brand new UI update looks incredible. The MetaMask.
Yeah, so actually
on
that, there's been bits and pieces of the new UI update, but within the next month to a month and a half, there's a complete revamp of the UI, the UX, the performance overhaul, especially on mobile, all of the things that people have been bugging us about that we've been working on the underlying infrastructure for to maintain security and privacy, but now have to focus on the front end and not necessarily the super technical users, but the ones that are being onboarded and need to be onboarded in a very easy, frictionless manner. So Not only that, we're also releasing support for Bitcoin and Solana, as well as more tighter integrations with existing EVM networks, and giving users like these discovery pages where you could see everything about your wallet in one place, all of your assets, all of your claimable airdrops and benefits. And, that's how I think that, 2025 is going to be the year of MetaMask. We're doing exactly what we were meant to do when it comes now to making sure that the front facing part of MetaMask is the best experience for the user. And it did take a little time because, again, MetaMask was an EVM wallet. We weren't focused on multi-chain in the beginning, and that's what the underlying infrastructure is built on. So to go back and have to rebuild that infrastructure to support all these other networks that didn't even exist at the time is definitely a major task. But I think that, what we're cooking up, and there's a lot more things that I can't really talk about, but what we're cooking up, I mean, people are not ready. People are not ready.
No, I love that. Absolutely. And what I will say is I have to give a shout out to Shaz over at Tokyo Pay Wallet. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Tokyo Pay Wallet, but recently they had an update to where it's a Cardano centric wallet, but now it's Cardano and Bitcoin. And you're actually using the same address on Cardano for your Bitcoin, and it automatically provides it whenever you send Bitcoin or Cardano to the wallet. So, I mean, like, for MetaMask, that would be a cool addition. Since you're talking about adding Bitcoin, you could use one wallet for both Cardano and Bitcoin. When I know you all recently integrated Cardano, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so actually there's like a whole other part to MetaMask, which is MetaMask Snaps, and it allows anyone to build directly inside of MetaMask with their own basically like integrated application. It's like an app store for your wallet. So you can enable Cardano support, Aptos, Bitcoin, Solana support through Soulflare. All these different snaps are available right now. It's just that we want to make that experience a little more default and integrated out of the box. So
Absolutely,
it's a lot of things that people don't realize that MetaMask does in the background that we don't necessarily talk about a lot. For example, LavaMoat. LavaMoat is a proprietary tech that we built out in order to make our wallet not susceptible to supply chain attacks. That other wallets actually use this tech as well. We also have ETH Phishing Detect, which is a repository of wallet drainers that we're detecting that we're helping feed to other wallets. So these are all things that we're providing as a good for the space. And then we also have things on the corporate level side, which is DIN, our decentralized infrastructure network, which is partnered with major Web2 companies as well as Web3 companies, Microsoft, Amazon, and a bunch of other Web3 companies that are focused on validators and nodes and liquidity pools, so that anyone that's coming in that wants to build something in Web3 at a corporate level has a direct tie-in with all these resources. So these are all things that are moving parts of MetaMask and Consensys that a lot of people that are degenning on the timeline and posting fake images of 100Xs don't realize.
100%, 100%. And I love that. I think that one of the biggest issues in this space is kind of like getting rid of the noise and finding the signal, right? The signal in the noise, because there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of, we'll say, there's a lot of people that are doing things in this space that are not necessarily good. And there's a lot of focus on those people that succeed as opposed to actually the tech and the things that are being built here, right? I always say that one of the barriers to the public coming into crypto and there being mass adoption is just like there are too many steps, right? So when somebody has an LED television, they don't need to know how it works. They just know they can turn it on, right? And I think that, like you were saying, that the MetaMask and like these kinds of the Web3 is likely just going to be a future operating system that everybody will use. That'll be them turning the TV on. They won't necessarily know how it works, right? I mean, it's the same way with coding. Like, I don't know coding, right? When I come on to my computer, I don't know what code is running behind my terminal, to make the things work. But I mean, I don't care. It works. I use it.
Right.
And
we need to get to the point where it just works, right? That it's as easy to use as an ATM machine, and the user doesn't have to think about it, which is really great, because we also just started the pilot program and are releasing publicly next month the MetaMask card, which I actually have right here.
It looks so clean.
Yeah, it's metal. It's a metal card. You can, insert, tap. There's also, built-in signers. There's more information that we're going to be releasing about that as well. But it lets you connect your self-custodied on-chain wallet and directly interface with an instant bridge from Web2 to Web3 and vice versa. So you could start using your crypto right now in real life. A lot of the hurdle from a lot of the people coming from Web2 is, where can I use my crypto? Well, now you could use it anywhere, because MasterCard gives us direct access to over 90 million merchants globally, and you are still the owner of your own keys. This is not a top-up card. This is not a centralized exchange card. It's not a credit card. It's unlike a lot of the crypto cards that you've seen. And we're also giving the user rewards for even using it. So I think, like, if we continue introducing tech like this and revamping the UI and the UX, and also creating a guardrailed environment for users to discover everything in Web3 in one place, that's the ultimate win. We're going to get to the point where you have real use cases and utility, as opposed to just watching a chart that looks exactly the same every single week that someone's pumping and dumping and telling you to just keep clicking. That's not what the point of Web3 is. The point of Web3 is to eliminate all these middlemen in multiple parts of society, so that we can actually own our own assets.
Yeah. And your data. That's what I'm most worried about, right? All these people use our data all the time and make tons of money on it. I think that we should be able to own our equity in the system that we're giving information to. So that way we are able to at least get our percentage of what we're contributing to the improvement of the system. All right.
Yeah.
So Michael, there are two questions that I ask everybody that I really enjoy asking, but I'm going to throw in a third one that is just a little bit silly. So when you were on Killer Whales, I need to know, okay, about raw dogging the internet, right? Or what raw dogging Web3. Did you come up with that, or was it written for you?
All right. Yeah. So raw dog the blockchain. Don't raw dog the blockchain was something that was created through communities, and big shout out to Six and Honest and the crypto pioneers, because they do big things at every conferences to, like, teach kids about financial literacy. And, that's a whole different thing, but there's a little thing called After Dark. And, I think Six and Honest came up with that, don't raw dog the blockchain, use wallet guard, because security is fucking boring. Like, let's be honest, like, no one wants to hear me sit there going, yeah, and we do phishing detection and transaction simulation. No one cares. Okay. What people care about is something that's like, did he just say that? And, like, what is that? Right. Like, that's the point of marketing. Right.
Yeah.
So I think that the reason why Wallet Guard was so successful is because we had such a great tie-in with communities, and we created champions of our product. And it was like a win-win to talk about Wallet Guard, as opposed to trying to get all technical where 99% of people don't care. So so the real slogan for Wallet Guard was very simple. It was protect your crypto. But the degenerate slogan was don't raw dog the blockchain, use Wallet Guard. So that's that little origin story. And when I told the Killer Whales, producers, that, they were like, we need you to say it again. We need you, like, they wanted me to say it like 100 times. I was like, I said it during, like, the interview process, and then, like, as it was live in front of the judges, which, by the way, on that show, you don't know who the judges are until, like, you're standing in front of them.
That's
and
crazy.
They're recording, right? Like, it's literally live. Like, nothing is pre-written. There's no script. I don't get a set of questions. They literally walk you in blindfolded in a dark room, and then they're like, okay, open your eyes.
Like, shit, there's Scaramucci.
Yeah, exactly. There's Wendy O, Scaramucci, like, it's really cool though, because, like, it really shows and puts people on the spot to confirm that they know what they're talking about. There are so many people in the space that have no idea what they're saying, and they stick to their original opinion, which was not based on fact, in order to not look stupid. So I think, like, if we can all work together to kind of say to ourselves, like, who are the real builders in the space? Who are the people that are consistently providing value? Because at the end of the day, myself and everybody at Wallet Guard, we never asked anybody in the space for a single dollar. We never told anybody to go, buy a token, or to go and spend thousands of dollars on an NFT. but that's generally what you see 99% of the time on the timeline. So it felt really good knowing that we created something that helped hundreds of thousands of people, now helping tens of millions, and we were able to do it for free and keep it open source. I mean, it's the best feeling when we see people on the timeline or in the DMs telling us, yo, this helped me. This tech actually saved my friend from getting rugged or scammed. That's worth millions of dollars, because at the end of the day, like, money is worthless. It's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. All right. So when one of the two questions I always ask is, if you can go anywhere in the world and eat anything, what are you eating? Right. Blank check. You can go to multiple places to get different things. What is it that Michael's going to sit down and be like excited to like chow down on?
Yeah. So last year with the Wallet Guard team, before we got acquired, we did a trip out to Tokyo.
Oof.
And there was like this hole in the wall spot. I gotta try to remember the name, but it was like you had to like set up, a reservation months ahead of time, and it was like impossible to get in. And they have very limited seating, but it was apparently like the best food, like the best sushi, and the best like noodles and rice and all these things. So myself and John, one of the other developers on the team, we were out like super late, and we were just walking around Tokyo, and he was like, I heard about this place. Do you want to go check it out? And like, we're going through like all these like catacombs and like dark alleyways to like get to this spot. We finally get to the spot. It's completely packed. It's crazy that like nothing else around it has any noise, but like this place is packed. And we go up to the front and we're like, is there any chance that we can come in? Is there any seating available? And there happened to be a table with 2 seats. And it was like towards the end of the night. And we were like, oh my God, let's get the table. We ordered probably everything on the menu just to try it. It was so good. I love sushi. I love fresh, seafood and stuff like that. And we actually ended up having a really good time. We were vibing with the chefs and, the waiter and everything. So
did you drink
if I find the
soju?
name of the place, I will let you know, but it's escaping me right now.
Did you drink soju?
So I don't drink alcohol at all.
Period. Okay. Cool.
I could probably count 10 times in the past 10 years that I have drank, but I had to, because towards the end of the meal, the chefs and the waiter were like, come drink with us. They were like, we were vibing with them. And how could I say no? That would be like disrespectful at that point. So I had to.
No, absolutely. No, that's funny. Me and my wife watch a lot of different kinds of Asian shows, and I'm currently in Honduras right now. My wife is Honduran, so for her it's like crazy. We're watching them, have all this very different food from what we eat here, and then always drinking soju and all these different kinds of things. But awesome. I'm glad you had a good time. I still haven't been, and I really want to make it out there. My brother went, he had a blast. The other question I like to ask all the time is, when you're like doom scrolling, because everybody goes through this process. When you go to like watch a show, you're just like scrolling through to see what catches your attention. What is it that you like will see that then draws you in, catches your attention? Like, what do you go for? Like, what are kind of like your defaults when it's a bunch of things you've never seen before? What are you looking for? What pulls you in?
Yeah, I'm obviously, I love tech and I love cybersecurity. So anything that's like up and coming, I like seeing stuff from like CES every year, the Consumer Electronics Show, where they come out with like bendable displays and like, holograms and like all this like super cool stuff. So I'm really a techie. I like to look at things that are coming up and down the line. I've always been like that. I always said to myself, like, what is the future? Well, this tech is definitely inevitable to be the future, or like this is the logical evolution of, let's say, currency or TVs or smartphones. So yeah, when I'm doom scrolling, the things that really stand out to me the most are things that I'm discovering that are, up and coming, that are like the future of tech. Because like, to me, I think we're going to get to a point where technology becomes more autonomous. And, now we have AI and we have all this different tech, and people need to start to understand how to use it for good, as opposed to using it for malicious activities, which is definitely happening with scammers. They're using AI, they're using machine learning in order to create more sophisticated scripts, and also duplicate things that look legitimate when they're really not. So I'm always looking out for those types of things, like upcoming tech and the security associated around them. I'm not the kind of person to doom scroll a bunch of like memes and people like doing stupid shit. Like, it's a waste of fucking time.
Yeah, 100%. I actually, we read an article. It might have been no, it would have been Friday, about a biological computer. Have you seen this? Do you know about this?
Maybe.
They're using brain stem cells with like semiconductor chips in this like computer processing, so it creates fluid neural pathways in how the computer actually is working.
I always take stuff
supercomputer.
like that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Because you never know if it's actually true.
Well, they are saying that it is Australian and it is the first one to like actually go to market, right?
Interesting.
So I can send you the article. It was just interesting. I like all that weird stuff.
Yeah.
And I love science fiction because more often than not, whatever is science fiction generally becomes science fact within like the next like 4 to 5 years, most of the
That's
time.
true.
If somebody has
That's
already
true.
conceived it, there's usually some actual reality behind it. But yeah, 100%.
No, I agree with that. I feel like actually I rewatched The Matrix with my parents a few weeks ago, and it's kind of like the original Matrix, the one from like 1998 or 9.
Yep.
And it was kind of crazy when you see it in a completely different light and you actually understand the story and how it literally relates to like today. So like the actual story about the Matrix is that AI, humans invented AI, and AI needed an energy source. And eventually AI became so sophisticated that it looked at human beings as an enemy. And in order for human beings to kill AI, they had to cut off their energy sources. So they darkened the
The whole
sky so
planet.
that no
Yeah.
solar power could get through to power AI units. Then the AI units realized that humans have electricity and like neurons running through them. So they started to put them in these pods and create this fake reality in order to milk them for their energy to remain alive. And it's like in 1999, no one would have thought that like AI and all this shit would be a thing. But now we're at the point where it's like, yo, this might become a reality, right?
And
Like
we're all
eventually these movies become
plugged
real.
in to the internet. Every single one of us is plugged into the internet. And like the other thing is like AI is so much smarter than us. We could ask it questions and it could guide us down a path that is completely different, like the trajectory of human civilization, right? We could be like, how can we make a better rocket? And then, it makes a better rocket, but like maybe for some other purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We would never know.
Yeah, and it's also a matter of like learning how to prompt AI and how to speak to it, because you can use it to your advantage, right? You can use it to automate certain things. You can use it to do better research or to make your business easier. But then there's also ways to manipulate it and get it to do things that it wasn't programmed to do, or things that were locked, which you are unlocking. I've had very long conversations with like Grok and ChatGPT where I'm asking them about things like crypto and blockchain. And then I ask them or try to get them to create a wallet and then understand like what crypto is and how to acquire some from a faucet and then how to use that on an exchange. And these are all things that they're actually technically not allowed to do, but it's a matter of how you speak to the AI and how you can manipulate it to your favor. So if you think about it like that, it's kind of crazy what people might potentially use the tech for, hopefully for good. But there are ways that are just the unknown right now because it's so new and people just don't know what they're stepping into.
Yeah, I saw somebody putting up like an alarmist post about how they had basically jailbroke Grok and got Grok 3 to tell them how to like unalive somebody. And then so it was Elon Musk, right? So they had this whole like plan that they gave to this person, right? That was like super specific based on the fact that he always goes to the rocket launches, right? So like location, like all of the
That's
tools,
insane.
and it's like absolutely crazy. And so they were saying, it's dangerous, but yeah, AI is dangerous, but it's definitely a tool. It's AI is a hammer, right? A hammer can't hurt anybody unless you smash somebody in the head with it, right?
Exactly.
But you can use it to build some cool things as well.
Right.
Um,
Right.
Last question. A lot of people are worried about AI taking jobs. Do you think that is like a well-founded concern? Do you think that we're going to go through some like crazy, I guess, removal of like working people?
I think that AI is going to increase the quality of life and it will be eliminating jobs. But I think that it can actually be used to create more jobs and it can be used to do jobs more efficiently. And if we focus and remove BS jobs, because there are a lot of BS jobs that
Yeah.
just don't need to exist, to be honest with you, when it comes to resources, consumption, different things that affect the actual, what is the state of the earth going to be in 1,000 years from now, sort of situation. I think that there can be a healthy balance and people can use the technology to their advantage as opposed to being afraid of it. Because if you're afraid of it, it's only a matter of time before it takes over and you are SOL. This happened with Amazon and the destruction or the hindrance of retail establishments. This happened with Netflix and streaming services completely destroying Blockbuster and physical locations where you can go and pick up video games or movies or whatever the case is. It's a natural evolution. And I think that the best thing to do is to adapt and not necessarily attack it. Because if you adapt to it, it can actually make the state of everything a million times better if you understand how to use it.
100%. All right, Michael, look, this has been a super great time, super great conversation. I appreciate you so much. For everybody out there, give us like final thoughts and like, where they can find you and Wallet Guard and all these different things, where you want to direct them to.
Yeah, for sure. I'm on Twitter, michaelk.eth. The handle is Michael KDCL. DCL stands or used to stand for Decentraland when I was there back in the day, but now it's just decentralized. So michaelk.eth, Michael KDCL, that's my handle. You're never going to catch me trying to show you some nonsense to buy, but you will definitely catch me dropping unlimited value and knowledge and security tips and things that you can help to onboard others into the space and to realize that this isn't just about 100Xs. This is about like changing the landscape of managing your funds and verifying different things and making sure your data and your privacy is maintained at the same time. So obviously follow Metamask. We've got a lot of stuff cooking that's going to be releasing in the next couple of months and super exciting stuff coming down the line for Consensys overall. I wish I could tell you guys, but yeah, it's going to be amazing.
So Aaron Gayette.eth, if you're out there watching, he didn't give us the TGE date. He didn't even confirm that there will be a TGE. But what I'm saying is we should all make sure to follow MetaMask and be attentive over the next couple months, at least, not forever.
That's right. That's right.
There we go. All right. Thank you so much, Michael. Definitely come anytime if there are any kind of updates or things that you're excited about that are new that are going on and you want to get the word out. You're always invited. You can always shoot me a DM and we'll get something cooked up. Also, I will ask anybody that you think is doing something really interesting, send them to me in a DM and I'll hit them up and I'll see if I can get them on. Anybody that you know is fun to talk to. If they're boring to talk to, absolutely don't. Don't even.
Totally understood. We should get Six and Honest on here because they are definitely fun to talk to and they have amazing takes on everything. So I will definitely shoot you their info, but I want to thank you for having me on your space and really like giving me a stage to speak. It's unlimited value to me that you're providing and definitely super down to come on in the future when we have more developments.
Appreciate you, man. All right, everybody, have an excellent day and weekend. Go touch grass, spend time with your family, and take it easy. Peace.